It's your boy Young Love, I give him that time. Pancho leg stand and punchy America. Banyi dwal, pancho leg stand and punchy America. Banyi dwal, ban walk on the lake, kankaro watana watching. Oga level leg, gear power, leg. Panda with ya, punchy America. Panya dwal, bano, chingatongo pandon, could you ever buy a check out? Papu panda gear, what ya be dwal venting. Stand and punchy America, Banyi dwal, pancho leg stand and punchy America, Banyi dwal, ban walk on the lake, kankaro watana watching, Oga level leg, gear power, leg, Panda with ya, punchy America, Panya dwal, bano, chingatongo pandon, could you ever buy a check out? Paku panda gear, what ya be dwal venting.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Legislative Media. For those of you who are tuning in Facebook, YouTube, and Clubhouse, welcome to Legislative Media this morning. And my guest, Mr. Thomas, Tut Doap, welcome to Legislative Media. Thank you for accepting our invitation. So before we start our discussion, I would like to give you a chance to introduce yourself. Who is Mr. Thomas? Mr. Thomas, thank you. Welcome. So I will give you the microphone to you to introduce yourself.
Thank you, Abraham, for inviting me to the Lake State Media to at least discuss or share some of the latest development in our meet as opposition. And for those who don't know me, actually, I'm a South Sudanese person who happened to be in opposition in the war or after the war. And I happen to be leading one of the founding members of SOMA, non-signatory, and CF. And I was leading the UDRMA as a chair until I recently resigned from it and the rest.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Yeah, you know, one of the things people are, I see your resignation letter from all opposition party, opposition group, including United Democratic Revolution Movement and South Sudan Opposition SOMA and non-signature. So what makes you lead to decide to retire from the opposition and then join the SPLM?
That is a very good question. You know, all of us know that there is a time for everything human being does. There's a time for everything. There has been a time for me to be in opposition, and now is a time for me to leave the opposition. The reason is I don't see my effectiveness in opposition. I don't see any great contribution for my people, for myself, for my family, for my community in opposition. So with consultation of my mind, my soul, my heart, I came to the conclusion that it is time for me to stop opposition politics. And that's why I highlight and underline the word opposition politics. Because I have heard some other people saying that or asking themselves, why should this guy be retiring from opposition and join another party? That's normal, of course. There are retired generals who are lecturers, retired generals who also work in the police. Anybody can retire from certain thing and join another. Retiring means leaving that place and no return to it, only when necessary. For example, a retired police officer or retired army general can be recalled for duty when necessary, even if he retired. That's the nature of the workforce. Many people are retiring from here, there. Me, I'm retiring from opposition politics and join the national movement, which is SPLM. And that's why I see myself fit at this time to give my contribution to the nation building in that party. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Doap. Yeah, when you, few weeks ago, when you put out your letter out in social media in public that you are leaving opposition, your former colleague in opposition, they were not happy. So you will be criticism. You get a lot of criticism in social media from your colleague that why you leave and you left and you joined the government that we all are against it. Now you go back. So what are you telling these of your former colleague from opposition? Why they are coming after you? So what is your response to them for their attacking you in social media? Can you respond to them?
Yes, my response will be very precise. The reaction was expected to be like that. Because when you have been with people and all of a sudden you decide otherwise, there must be a negative reaction against you or accusation against you. But for me, because I don't have any hidden agenda that will harm the opposition, I don't want to also react negatively or try to defend myself. No, I can't do that because it's not me. I'm a public person now. I'm a public personality. I have to be criticized with whatever I do. Some people may not like it. And mind you, their response made me come to evaluate myself. That little did I know that I was really, really a valuable person in the midst of opposition. So losing me was a shock for them, and I don't blame them. Therefore, I will not really react negatively to their response or to their criticism toward me. It is driven out of anger, out of shock, because they miss me, and they think they need me, for sure. However, time has come for me to decide for myself, to myself, and I do things differently. I will not dwell on the media, like firing back on them. No, I will not. Because, resignation is a human right. It's a democratic right of individual. It is now my democratic right to resign from where I have been and rejoin the SPLM. It is my democratic right, and everybody should know this. I don't have to consult with anybody and ask them if they could allow me to resign. or I could not even contact the SPLM to ask them if I could join them. No, I do it personally, individually, and it is my own decision, and I own it, and I'm responsible for it. As for that response and the reaction, I don't send back another negative reaction also to them. I'm a gentleman on my own. I know it is a matter of time. We will all be together again. It is a matter of time. So I should not spoil my name by criticizing one of my colleagues or some of my colleagues who will be also in the country tomorrow, next year, God knows when. So no, I don't have to tell them anything.
Okay.
Let the public be the judge.
Okay. You mentioned that the reason why, one of the reasons why they are really after you when you decide to leave them is because you are one of the figure. You are a big player in opposition. So when they see you are leaving, so they think that you are leaving a hole, deep hole within opposition. And the opposition that I'm talking about is diaspora opposition, because all of these opposition, they are not in the country. They are outside the country. So when you decided to leave, so can you tell us why you saying that you are big, what big role you are playing in opposition, that they feel like that you left them, there's a vacuum you left behind, and I think they will miss, or the work that you were doing with them, nobody will fit your shoes. So can you tell us what kind of work or opposition or the role that you are playing within opposition before you left? Thank you.
Well, I would not really be describing myself very clearly because, somebody has to be described by others, the way they see him or the way they see her. But personally, what I know for sure is I'm a uniter. I really want unity among people who are doing things. I take my decision slowly, not emotionally. I always encourage unity among people. I encourage the resolution of conflict through peaceful means. So that's why I become a member of all this organization, starting with SWA. SWA, it was our organization, UDRMA, plus SNMT, James Bagasoro, who came with this idea of bringing all the oppositions who are not member of SPLM-IO at the time when Dr. Ria was in South Africa. And we began to consult with others until it became huge as you come to know. I had a good contribution in that. And one of the effective results of our unity was the advocacy for the release of Dr. Riek, because we cannot continue with peace process while the main leader of main opposition movement is in the prison. We asked the God, even the government, to allow Riek to come out of prison so that he participate in person. That was one of the achievements, And when SUA, some of the members of SUA accepted the peace, RRCs, some of us thought that there is something that needs to be done first, because the peace has not been thoroughly been discussed and negotiated. It mainly came from our friends and the regional blocs, IGAD. that thought that the Southern Sudanese are not going to come together. Let us give them something that to build on. So they came with the RRCs, and sure enough, no, some of us decided to join it. I talked in length with Dr. Lam at the time. He tried to convince me that there's no need for you guys to remain behind. This piece is not good, but we can build something on it. And we say, no, let us just wait. And due to the fact that we don't want any argument, those who became holdouts, as they call us, we rename ourselves. And instead of calling ourselves SUA 2 or SUA something, no, we left SUA to those who went in, so to clear confusion. And then we came up with something called NDA. You see, NDA, we also lobbied for more membership, people who could join, and sure enough, we came in contact with Honorable Paganamum, Gerald Malong, and they decided for us to discuss the coming together. So we went to Hague, Netherlands, and we came with one name, Soma, which I personally coined myself. I created that name, Soma. So it was my making. We came until certain point where we disagree with the principles of Soma, and that caused Malong not to sign the charter, and Pagan to say, no, if Malong is not in board, I'm not going to sign too. Although the charter is good. So we temporarily departed, and we have been attending the negotiation with government in different tables in Rome until we recently also, even though we were departed, I did not stop calling Honorable Pagan to tell him that united we stand and divided we fall. We better come together if we are real opposition. What's the point of us being apart and we are talking the same thing? So until recently, we came together again as non-signatory and also came with a different initiative, which is the Roundtable Conference that would bring everybody on board, including the government. And luckily also, the other groups who had been operating in isolation, they came also to hear the words. And we were joined by civil society organizations, faith-based organizations, and money more. So for me, now opposition is growing more and more than ever before. And the vacuum I left behind, a space I left behind empty, will never be empty. Somebody will fill it. I know I don't let opposition because it's weaker or has problems or anything. No, it's just my personal thinking, my own way of seeing things. Although opposition will be doing great job in the near future, I could have a contribution also, but at this point in time, I see my contribution only inside SPLM. Why? Why inside SPLM? SPLM as the only organization that liberated the country came to lose direction in the process before or after the independence, because it was full of power struggle from within. So instead of the organization focusing on transforming the movement into political party, the leadership engaged only on who will lead SPLM. That brought us the war in 2013. SPLM, as people have been accusing, like, is the one killing everybody, is the one doing this, doing that. I don't think it's SPLM, but individual within SPLM. This is my belief. And after this relative peace, one can see something is happening within SPLM, which is trying to reorganize itself to engage on doing the thing that it should have been doing since independence or before that. So in this reorganization of SPLM, I want to see myself in there, helping in the reorganization of the SPLM and redrawing the strategies of programs of national or the state development or state building. Now, since Dr. Riek is inside with the rest of the SPLM leaders, I think there will be a time for them also to think of coming together again. Because if SPLM was bad, if SPLM itself was bad, there should be no many SPLMs with many suffix or prefix. You know them, beginning from SPLM opposition, SPLM or real SPLM, SPLM IO Kitguang, SPLM also IO reformist. All this SPLM, they believe that they still believe in the program or the strategy of SPLM that we used to be. And the only problem here is everybody wants to be a leader of SPLM. That's what they are fighting for. They are not fighting for the word SPLM. They are fighting for who will lead it or who is going to lead it right now, not in the future. If they had to give some time for themselves to say that, let Comrade Telford take his time, until then somebody will come. So what they did not do, or what they did not even give a chance to, was to give a chance to the philosophy and ideology of the movement. Each movement comes with hierarchy. There must be a succession plan. If this one goes, who will come the next? And then there will be no quarrel. Anything is guided by legal framework. SPLM should have been guided by legal framework, not individual desire or behavior. No.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Thomas. You mentioned very important thing that you said that you are a person who you like to unite people, but in opposition, that's not the case. We see the voices in opposition. I'm one of the person in social media who are critical toward opposition, because the voices that we are hearing in opposition camp, there's a division among your colleagues. They are not getting along together. They are dividing themselves. As you mentioned before, that there are a lot of group have been created, from SOA to NDA, from NDA to SOMA, and from SOMA now to NAN, signature group, and so forth. So, do this opposition, do they having any vision? Do why they are so divisive among themselves? And if they are dividing among themselves, they don't have unity among themselves. What they will bring on the table, or how they will convene the people of South Sudan, that they will support them. Because what I'm hearing from their supporters and their leaders is a lot of division. Tribalism is one of the things within a year within opposition. Can you tell us, Mr. Thomas, if this opposition, this is one of the reasons you left them, because of division among within opposition? Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Abraham. For me, as a leader, I know very well that it is not easy for more than two people to come together and do things. Always there are some different opinions. But the main thing is one objective. All these different tribes or different political parties who come together, they have their own local politics, and you cannot rule out anywhere, even in the government also. There are some differences of approach, but still, the organization is still an organization with one objective. And one thing I would really inform you and our listeners is that as of late, or recently, the opposition have come with a good suggestion or good initiative of giving peaceful resolution a chance. Leave the violence and let's talk. That alone is enough. That would bring everybody together. And I hope next time, in the near future, government may join that talks, and the opposition will come with their roadmap, and the government will come with the roadmap they have already developed, and the North will be compared and see what the commonality in those roadmaps that will bring South Sudanese together. South Sudan has been at war and is already divided. Among tribe, ethnic group, the same, even clan or families are divided. And slowly we have to work to bring them together. And one of the strategy to do it, Abraham, is my decision. If the country divided that line, also I see myself fit to be inside, to play my role in, narrowing the gap of this unity, And this time, to me, it is not up to somebody like president to do it. Everybody will do it in Konyo Konyo, in Lakes, in Jongole, everywhere in South Sudan. We need ourselves in local capacity, to narrow the gap of this unity. If we continue talking about this unity, talking about it, and doing nothing about it, the solution, Abraham, is not that we have to get Salva Kiir out of power in order for South Sudan to unite. I don't think that's realistic. No. The realistic thing is, even those who are outside, who are not under the leadership of Salva Kiir, are not uniting. You can see even in the Western world, in different towns, it's hard to see many ethnic groups coming together to celebrate something. Each and every ethnic group, they are by themselves, And within that ethnic group also there are divisions among themselves. So the country completely divided. The community members themselves are killing themselves. And it is really, really sad for some of us to be accusing the government of engineering the communal fighting. I don't think it's true. Nobody urged the community to fight themselves. It is themselves. Like if I give you the example now, the war in Upper Nile, in Jonglei, what did the governors of those two states get to stop the war? Why should they wait for a president to stop the war? What did they try and fail to do it? I never heard of governor of Jonglei and governor of Upper Nile coming together to discuss about the stoppage of that civil war within Upper Nile. You see, our people sometimes, when you fail to deliver, you try to blame it on others. Try your local resources. Try your local resources to do something. So it is each and every one of us to contribute of how to stop the war and to reconcile among one another. You see? And today, the good news coming from Abraham Awoluch that Kwela Agüero has been released and all the charges have been dismissed. Can you also see some change in that particular instance? Had it been like some years ago, Kwela and his colleague would have been charged, or will he still be in prison now, or God knows what would have happened to him. But there's a change now. Change is coming. And instead of being stubborn and intransigent and try to build a lot of negative things against ourselves, we better narrow the gap by working together. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Thomas. Yeah, before I yield microphone back to my colleague, Mujok Mako, let me ask you this one more question before I give the microphone back to my colleague to ask more questions. There is a letter that has been written by Ambassador Emmanuel Jawin, the Secretary General of SOMA LC. This letter was written on the 29th last month, a response to your resignation. So, and he lists from 1 to 5 the reason. So they say that this, according to this letter, they say that South Sudan opposition's movement, SOMA, note with the deep concern the letter of defection of Thomas Tut, Chairman and Commander-in-Chief of the United Democratic Revolutionary Movement, and the former member of South Sudan Opposition Movement Alliance Leader Council. So in this letter, dated November 26, which is on the 26th, that's the date that you put out your letter out in public that you are leaving them. So he further, so I will not be reading a lot of all of the letter. So at least let me read the few thing that he mentioned in the letter responding to your resignation. He said that the SOMA Leadership Council convey emergency meeting on the 27th last month, November, to discuss the infection of Tut Doap, and would like to communicating the following reason. Number one reason is that the SOMA Council condemned the decision that Thomas defected to the SPLM-IG, and also seriously brand of trusted betrayal. You see, betrayal. So you betrayed them. So that's what they say, you betrayed their trust. That's one of the things that you betrayed their trust. And number two, I will not read a lot, so I'm just scanning. Number 2, they said Soma Leadership Council suspend was immediately affects the membership, your membership. So they said they suspend your membership from Soma. Number 3, so I'm not reading all of it, so I just scanning up. And number 3, they said that Soma LC immediately they are investigating you, why you resign from them, from their group. And number 4, Soma is member, people of South Sudan and international community, divide and infection of Thomas. The organization will continue to strengthen its strategy system, calm and stronger. So, and number 5, so they say that Soma is committed to work for the holding the round table, which we will conference, which we will talk a little further. So these are the thing. The thing that the Secretary General of Soma, they think that you betrayed their trust. So what is your response to that letter? Thank you.
Yeah, there are some words which are appropriate in that statement, but the statement is fully emotionally charged. Emotional charge. There are some legal errors in it, and there are political misgivings in the letter itself. They have right to say, I betrayed them. That's their own right to say. They have right to dismiss me or took my membership away from me. And that's what I did. They are not taking it. I did it. I resigned. So what they should be doing was to approve my resignation. They accuse me of treason. Treason means sentence somebody to death. Okay. That means I commit a crime against who knows who. By resigning, is it a crime to resign from an organization? I don't think so. So my resignation should not have been amounting to treason. And I don't know how do they define treason.
So they are condemning you and they define you treason because you will take their secret information to the government.
Let me. Yeah,
go
I
ahead.
don't know what kind of secret they will be fearing for me to tell to the government. Do we really have secret in Soma that we never tell to the government? Whatever brought us together is what we have been telling the government. So this is not a secret. It's an open secret. If at all should be, be termed as a secret. What we have been saying in ourselves is what we have been telling the government. So government knows already that Soma is there pushing for implementation of the RSS for all of us to come. I think during one of the occasions, Dr. Riak talked about it. And he informed also as soon as that he had been talking to Thomas Rilo. Okay, what is it that he has been talking to Thomas Rilo? It's about the implementation of peace. I don't think we have anything secret that I'm going to tell the government that the government does not know already. That a misconception. And also at the same time, I don't blame them for saying it. Another contradictory thing they have done is dismissing the organization I resigned from, UDRMA, because I'm not any longer a member of UDRMA. I left UDRMA with Soma, but they dismiss it. They dismiss the whole entire organization. They charge me with treason. They dismiss the organization I was representing. And another contradictory thing is that they call for internal investigation. To investigate what now? Again, when you come to the verdict, you judge the suspect, you charge him with treason, okay, and you dismiss the organization it represents. What are you going to investigate when you come to conclusion already? Okay, and I don't know why they are doing this to me, because James Bagasoro did the same thing like I had done. He resigned from SSNMC and joined SPLM. We never charged him of treason. We never dismissed his own organization. Or the organization he left behind is still here with us. Dr. Pascual, who was the General Secretary of NDM, resigned and no treason charge. Okay? And many people have resigned and no charges of treason or dismissing of their organization from the alliance. But I cannot help. I cannot contribute anything. The public will judge why they do this. Why? Why they do this to only Thomas Tut and not other before me. And like I said, there's no secret in Soma that will be new other than agenda of implementing peace. And by the way, based on Rome Declaration of ceasefire means not only in front line, also in media. You should not be also negative about the government you are trying to negotiate with. The first thing that when we or any fighting or warring factions, first thing they do is to cease fire among themselves. One of the things to be seized is media war, so that to prepare a conducive environment for peace talks. As the NCF now engaging on preparing for the roundtable conference, I would have loved for opposition to lower their tune to be a tune of peace and reconciliation, not a tune of war. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for answering my questions. So we have more questions to ask you, Mr. Thomas. We will be talking more about the roundtable inside in position and also joining the government. So for that, I will yield microphone back to my colleague to ask you more questions. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Abraham Adit. And first of all, I salute you, our guest, Thomas Tut, for your time to come and talk to South Sudanese, and also to clarify your position and to explain yourself, because as opposition who was in a certain alliance with other colleagues, once you made any decision to join the government or to rejoin the government, people always give different names and label you with a different titles. So It's very crucial at some point for you to come and explain yourself. Sorry for coming late. I was attending other duties. That's why I would have been here from the beginning with you. Yeah, the fourth question, because I'm rightly informed by my colleague that you reach up to the third questions and some few follow-up questions. I will pick it up from there, from question number 4. Seeing you decided to resign from your alliance, which is SOMA, and you made your clear decision that you want to join the government. And by then, were you a member of Roundtable Initiative, or you were not yet a member? And if you were a member of Roundtable, are you still supporting Roundtable to go on, or you see Roundtable as another Rome initiative? Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you, Majak. And Roundtable Initiative came with my participation. I am one of the founding members of the steering committee. Roundtable Conference Initiative is a noble idea. Why? Because it advocates for peaceful resolution of the conflict in the country rather than an armed struggle. That makes it a noble idea, because within the family, always there are problems. But if you keep fighting each other, that family will never come together. But now, since the opposition came to advocate for peaceful resolution of the conflict in the country, there's no point for anybody to reject that initiative, because it doesn't harm anything for people to talk. Some people may see it as a point of regime change tactics. No regime will be changing the table, by the way. Nobody will be able to change the government on the table. No. So if at all would be a solution to the end problem, it will require the opposition, the government, and all stakeholders to come together and ask themselves, what is wrong now? And how can we solve that wrong? Yes, I support still the Roundtable Conference. It's a good idea.
Thank you, Mr. Tut, for your explanation. Indeed, Roundtable sound like national dialogue. The difference is that national dialogue was initiated by the President of the Republic, and Roundtable was initiated by the all-out groups, as the government refer you to before you made your decision to desert them. It's a good cause to pursue, but I don't really know. Since you have decided to join the government, do you feel like you should also continue to be part and parcel of Roundtable, if given that chance by the government?
If the government tell me to be a part of that, I would be. If the government assign me to any capacity that will attend the Roundtable Conference, if the government accept to attend, though, I will not do it in isolation. I do it in as far as the government thinks it is right for government to attend. And if they think that Thomas is the right person also to be one of the people who will attend on behalf of the government, I will be glad to do it. I will attend the Roundtable Conference. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Doap, for your response. Basically, you have read and you have seen a lot of things seen during your childhood, during the struggle of the country after independence, mess. and the current stage we are in as the country. And many oppositions, especially from 2015, 2016, J1 dogfight up to now, many people who were not happy with the government, according to the way the current regime is handling the affairs of the country. Some decided to correct the government without taking arms and become more oppositions, and others rebelled against the government. Many of them were called back to Juba by the government. And for you to make a decision to join the government, there must be a serious discussion between your party and the government. And many people said you were given an offer by South Sudan government. Mr. Thomas, can you let us know the package in which our government has offered to you that convinced you to join the government? And I hope you answer that question before that what motivated you at this level to join the government? Is it because you have seen being outside the government or outside South Sudan, you cannot make more changes or you cannot be heard rather than being inside? Because many people also believe for you to be inside your house, that's where you can see which corner to place which stock in rather than being outside the fence. Thank you, Thomas.
For your information to clarify things, the organization I had been leading, UDRMA, is still in opposition, the organization itself, because I was leading an organization with structure, with everything. It is me, the head of the organization, who resigned from it, giving back the entire leadership the power to continue with what they think is right outside. And me as a person, I'm not the organization. Up to that, up to now, we are talking, although also Soma dismissed, wrongfully dismissed UDRM, which they should not have done. UDRM is still outside with my duty, taking charge of the organization. As for serious negotiation with government and get the offer, you see, if I had to be given an offer, why should it be given as an individual? It would have been good if I took all my cabinet, my members, the army generals who are part of UDRMA. Yes. And also, it should not have been in secret. It may have been done in open, like we have been doing it in Rome. Believe it or not, even those who are saying this, if they have to be part of government and decided to take Thomas Tut in, they should be asking themselves, what is it that Thomas is coming to do that nobody is doing here in the government or in SPLM? And nobody is and this is the mindset of all the Nubin, that if you take a decision like this, something must be attached to it. In my case, you have, as a media person, you have right to consult with government. Also, there's a government spokesman, there's a government chief negotiator, there's a secretary general of SPLM. All those institutions that somebody may think are the one, or even with intelligence community, you may call them and ask them whether they have been, because now there's nothing secret already. I'm here, I brought and nobody will hide anything again. If I have been in contact with any government official or any institution, somebody will say, yeah, we have been in contact with Thomas and we told him, you resign from, and then we give you this. They will tell you. But for me, let everybody who try to speculate, try to, blame or try to accuse or try to insult, call names, let them do it on their own, way of saying it. But personally, as I know myself, it is me and only me that must know the truth and tell the truth. Because if I have to run after positions, for example, let's say positions, SOA that you heard accepted peace. Like I told you, you may have heard about it before you came in, that I am the founding member of that SOA. And guess what? If I was looking for position, I would have gone with SOA so that to be given positions that I am looking for. I'm not looking for position from government, from anybody. No. I resign as an individual. At any time when I'm ready to go to Juba, I go. And if the government institution think I should fit in any one of the civil service or anything, it is up to them to see that I fit to do something for the country. And as for now, I'm just an ordinary SPLM member. That's me as we speak.
Yeah, thank you, Thomas Tut, for your clarification. Indeed, when the society is fragile and fragmented, there are those beliefs always, as you mentioned. Since post-independent violence or conflict, many South Sudanese begin to develop that ideology that for you to disagree with the government, then you must be seeking for an opportunity to get in the government. And once you get in the government, then you will no longer disagree with the government. That's why you see people are wondering and asking, whoever at any given point, disagree with the government and try again to agree with the government, they always accuse based on the experience and examples. But for your case, is very clear. The idea of you being the founding member of United Democratic Revolutionary Movement Stock Army, and you have decided to resign from that particular party. Does it mean you resign from the party and you have joined the main SPLM? And if I said main SPLM stream, it means the SPLM IG, as I will refer to, because there are many factions of SPLM nowadays, as you may well aware of. So currently, are you fully a member of SPLM as a ruling party, or you resign from your United Democratic Revolutionary Movement and join government as normal citizens of the country? Can you make that so clear to our audience?
Yes, Major. This is exactly as you explained. Like I said before, it is after a consultation with my soul, with my mind, with my heart, that I ask questions of myself. Am I making any positive impact on my community, on my country, or not? And my answer to myself was that I'm not making any contribution. Therefore, I had to leave what so-called opposition movements, declare myself an ordinary SPLM members as I had been before the war. You know, I have my place in the SPLM as a member. I did not hold any office in the SPLM, but a member who contribute in my own way. And when I was trying to run for the office as a commissioner of Akobo, I had to use the SPLM ticket to run for it. Otherwise, I was an ordinary civil servant who was given my own professional contribution to the nation building before the war. And even in 2016, I went back to Cuba, at least to reclaim my position in the public service. But again, people were pushed out when the same people who were fighting over who leads the country or the party began to fight again. We, the helpless civil servant, had to run for our own lives. You see, because when the big elephants are fighting, who always suffers? The grass. We are the victim of the leadership struggle within the SPLM. And if they settle now, they think that they should not fight anymore. And we have to revive our being. You know, I don't have to wait for somebody to promise me anything to be a citizen of South Sudan. Why should somebody also be bribed to be a member of his own country? And let me tell you the truth here. Many people expect big things from government. But in contrary, the government should expect more things from the citizen. It is the citizen who should be doing things for the nation, not another way around. And that's wrong with
Thank
us.
you.
We should not be thinking of getting something from government all the time, when the government also is expecting us to do something good for the nation. But this is me. Nobody invited me. Nobody tried to, urge me to leave what you are doing outside and come home and we will give you this. Why should they do that? No, I'm not that important. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Thomas Tut, for your clarification. Indeed, that is a powerful statement that we should not expect much from our government. There comes a time when government expect much from its citizen. It's true. But now you said you are returning as a member of SPLM, as the mother party of South Sudan, the ruling party, the party that liberated the entire nation until we are now free people, like other citizens of the world. Do you believe, Mr. Thomas, that the SPLM, your mother party, will still have that trust in you like they used to be before you form your own groups? Thank you.
That is a good question. Well, SPLM as an institution, a political party for that matter, has their own way or its own way of evaluating things. What is negative about welcoming back Thomas to its membership, and what is positive about him coming back? What contribution will Thomas Tude make to SPLM? That's an evaluation they would be sitting down and do it. And if they see me fit or see me like not harmful to the SPLM, and they see that I bring something on the table or to the table of SPLM internal political development, they will welcome me. And I would be glad to participate in my capacity, whatever it is capacity. Otherwise, my primary aim is to be in the house, to be in my place, my family, my community, in my country. Whatever I do there, it doesn't concern anybody. I can go home, engage on fishing or farming, or do anything that is benefit me primarily and my family secondarily, and also the nation. You know, that is the primary objective of me joining the government, not positions or not anything. And if the SPLM think otherwise, that coming of Thomas Tude is negative, we don't want him here, they have a right to do so. Yeah, they have a right
Thank
to do
you.
so.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Thomas, for that. By the way, whenever you made your choice that you want to go back home as a politician that has been on the opposite side of the government, it required a lot. It required your personal security to be safeguarded and guaranteed by the government, not only in South Sudan, across Africa. It also required you to be comfortable to where you will be in. And I like the idea of you going back home to do anything to support your family, your relatives, and your community, like farming and doing other business. And also even to talk to your people, it means a lot. You will give them new ideas and new life experience. But the question still remains, Mr. Thomas, what are your expectations about the current government? Now you made your choice, it's clear. You chose to go back home. What do you expect from this decision? Because every man or every human being, and most especially you politician, your decisions are always concrete. There must be a certain foundation that you base your decision upon. What are your expectations from Juba government? Thank you. And remember, there is crisis now between SPLM mainstream as a ruling party and other factions of the SPLM, and also the crisis in unity in Upper Nile State, rather. Thank you.
Thank you, Majok. That is a good question. Somebody must expect something from somewhere or somebody. And for me, deciding to go into the country where there are all those crises, what do I mean? Back some years, not very far or not very long time ago, the United Nations and the African Union had reached an MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, that Africans must be allowed to solve their problems with their own solutions. That means they were saying, the AU was saying that whenever there is a problem in any given country in Africa, the African Union or regional agencies like IGAD should be there to mediate or to solve the problem. But let me tell you something, like I have been in many talks and in many contexts. The words that I've been hearing, that it is you South Sudanese, who will solve your problem. Not Uganda, not Kenya, not Ethiopia, not Sudan. It is you and only you that will solve your problem. There are now crises, like you just said. When there is no crisis, there's nothing to solve. If there are no crises, nothing to solve. And the human nature, there are conflicts, and conflicts are also solvable because no problem without solution. I expect the government to think that my decision is positive by welcoming me to contribute into the solution of all those crises that we have just mentioned. Being Jonglei Apanal crisis, being the party of SPLM and SPLM-IGO crisis, or wrangling, which is not necessary. And I don't think Dr. Riak, the leader of SPLM-IGO, really mean it to be a leader of SPLM-IGO, chairman, for that matter, and wanted to be a deputy chairman of the SPLM. To me, he has only two choices, two only. There's no third. There's no third choice. Two choices only. To dissolve SPLM-IGO and apply that I coming back to SPLM proper. And then the whole SPLM political bureau, National Liberation Council, would sit down and say, okay, Dr. Riek now has come back. He's not a member of opposition anymore. He become a part of government. As it is now, it's a part of government. To me, the former FDs, the SPLM-IO, the SPLM proper, they are all in government. Saying that SPLM in government is the one led by Salva Kiir, and SPLM in opposition is for Riek and the former detainees, Hande Rebecca. They are all government. So what confusion do you want to bring here? Everybody, nobody in opposition anymore. So what is there is just, I think, Brother Riek is just waiting for some little change from outside so that he come to join SPLM. Unfortunately, the SPLM did not wait for him to engage in the restructuring or reorganization of the party. And I've heard the president told him, we have up to point in time before the liberation sit to decide whether you denounce IGO and come back, or the second choice, my job for IGO is to forget about anything SPLM, form their own party. If they think the vision and the mission of SPLM has been abandoned by Salva, and they are the one holding it, that's why they are still calling themselves SPLM. Yaki, you can call your party Dr. Young Machar. That's it. And articulate your objective for the nation. Call it any name. The thing that had been left behind by Selpa, pick them up. Come and build it in different things, in different parties, and sell your ideology, your objective, your manifesto, everything, sell it to the nation. And then from there, you have a right to do anything with it as a citizen of that independent country. But continuing to argue all the time that you are an asylum, and you put something like opposition in there. Why should you be opposition to yourself? Why do you oppose yourself? I don't think this is right. And people should really be explaining this. And if not, the political structural framework will not convince anybody, we need to call the people from the legal community to come and explain what the legality of this confusion that the IO is bringing now. Again, is it legal really? Okay, let me put this. You can be a member of South Sudan government, and at the same time a member of IGAD, a member of United Nations. That is a different thing altogether. You cannot, let's say if Riek wins an election, now he runs as a SPLM IO. Let's think that Honorable Paganamum wins election in South Sudan, in real SPLM. Will they still calling themselves SPLM IO become a ruling party now? SPLM in opposition now is the ruling party. Or they will change something. They will take this IO and they said SPLM has won. Defeating who? Defeating another SPLM. Can you imagine? That means here there's no ideological argument. People are not saying Salva Kiir abandoned ideology or the mission of SPLM and become something else. It is purely the struggle against who will lead SPLM and become a president of. This is it. And it is what we call a leadership struggle, not an ideological in nature. If it is an ideology, because parties are being identified by their ideologies, why do you think SPLM ideology is bad and you're still calling yourself SPLM? What? Huh? Majok, if you say the name Majok is not good anymore, I don't like it. I have to change my name. What will you do? You go to court and make legal process to change your name. But if somebody claims that the name you try to claim, the new name you want to create for yourself, is my name, and he's going to claim it, so there will be proceeding, legal proceeding. You should not just be named like that. Therefore, to solve our problem, amicably, we need to be structural. We need to think professionally. We need to think legally, so that when we sit down, we have to bring something, argument that makes sense. And if it is not that easy for two of us or for many of us to bring somebody in between us, Sit down and let them explain what they know, what they know about this. This is a confusion. So Dr. Riek has two choices for me. To rejoin the SPLM like Thomas Tut, and leave the SPLM completely, form a different independent party from the SPLM. These are the two choices, no third one.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Thomas, Tut, for your explanation in regard to your expectation from Juba government despite the crisis currently. For you, you see it's like you will contribute providing solutions to those problems, the crisis within SPLM, the crisis in Upper Nile region, and also in other part of the country, which is a good thing, if only given a chance by the government to do so. After this juncture, I'm done with the few questions which I thought and deemed fit to seek the answers from you. I will yield it back to my colleague Abraham Adit, and also to give us some of the questions from our viewers under comment section, and also from Clubhouse. There are members there who also want to throw in their question to you before we end the show. Abraham Adit, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Comrade Majok, Makur, and our honored guest, Thomas. Thank you so much, Thomas, for answering our question that we asked you, and also to powerful remark you make about that. One of the reasons why you change your mind to go back home is to go and contribute to the nation building, and also to help. You can go and do your farm. That alone is a powerful, and I hope your former opposition should hear that, and they should do the same to go back, return back home, and then to be a part of nation building, because you cannot build the nation while you're in diaspora or outside. Just go in and contribute. And very well said that we citizens, we have a part to play to bring change in the country, not the government alone. So that is a very good, powerful thing. So let me give this chant to Manon. Manon is a chairman of SPLM chapter in the US. So Manon, if you can hear my voice, you can open your mic and continue. Go ahead and ask Thomas your question. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Malik. Do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, thank you also, and thank for the Lake Media, Lake State Media, for bringing our guests, and also those who are listening down there. And also my greeting to our guest, Mr.Thomas Tut Doap, the chairman and commander-in-chief of the UDRMA. My question to him, I heard from him, it was very interesting with his statement. I do agree with him that the citizen actually should do more than what they expect from the government. I think that was the case during 1983 until 2005. I think our community are really oriented in that perspective, that the citizens have to do more in order for them to own their freedoms and own their government. Because if we actually talk about democracy cannot grow with weak society. Our community have to be more empowered and believe on themselves in order for them to produce the better government for themselves. And that is that we should preach for our community in order for them to be empowered, in order for them to have a capability of owning their government, because the government is belong to them and the people are the government themselves. But if they are weak, that's why we're facing a lot of challenges in this country. I do agree with him on that. Question to him, first of all, I will say welcome home, Mr. Thomas Tut, and we really appreciate your decision of joining the voices of the peace in the country, and that is what we are expecting for the rest of opposition to join the force of the peace in the country. And also, I do agree with you also. I'd like your statement and agree with you that you say that an African problems have to be solved within the African. And I think that is the really fact that all of us have to agree that whatever is happening in Africa, we have to fix it as an African. And I do agree with you also. The South Sudan conflict or South Sudan problems or South Sudan crisis cannot be resolved outside, other than we ourselves have to resolve our own problems, and we have to accept our own challenges of nation building. I do agree with you on that. Coming to the question that I'm going to ask, early when you left a couple of weeks ago or 2 weeks ago, your former allies, they came out with the statement downplaying a significant impact of you joining the government. There is a statement that was come out from your former alliance, which is the SOMA, or now they call themselves non-signatories groups. They came out and downplay your significant impact of leaving the group. This is the one question. What do you say about that? Secondly, why your former group alliance, which is SOMA, now they change themselves into non-signatories group? Why they change declaration in Rome into round table? They change their mind from principle declaration that we all know that you guys were engaging with the government based on principle, a declaration of principle in Rome, and then the issue of round tables, we rise up as a new thing that we don't know what is the secret about it, and what makes the group to shift from talk in Rome, and then they coming up with a round table. This is the second question. The last question is, you as a leader of your movement, share your intent and the opposition. You are commander-in-chief. I see you are commander-in-chief and chairman of the group. Do you share with them? Do you share with them before you leave? You convene them, doing the peace with you together, then leave them aside, and then you went back home to join the nation building. Those are my questions, and I thank you, Brother Lake Media, for an opportunity, and may God bring the peace for our country, and may God bless South Sudan. Thank you.
Thank you, Comrade Manon. Thomas, can you hear us? Did you hear all the questions?
Yes. Just Abraham, give me some time because I'm leaving the house because my power bank or charger is in the car, and my phone is about to die. So
Okay.
give me like 1 or 2 minutes to reach my car so that we will. I will be asking some of the reprisal from you. The question from Manon. I heard some of them, but I did not hear some of them because I was moving. So let me settle here a little bit.
Okay.
And hook up my my phone to the power line.
Okay. Yeah, and also too, for those of you in Clubhouse, I know I see some of your colleagues in here. If you willing to come up and ask your former colleague a question, you feel free to come up. Manon, I think Thomas didn't catch some of your question because he was going in the car so he can charge his phone. Now he's in his car and he's ready to hear a little more of your 3 questions. Can you repeat them so that he can answer them? Thank you.
Let them be ready, then I can repeat them so you can capture them immediately.
Okay, Thomas, are you ready?
Just hold on. Just hold on.
Okay, hang on. And for those of you in Facebook, please, you want to ask questions, just write your question and I will pull it up on screen. And that's what we'll be doing. And meanwhile, okay. So Majuk, yeah, so Thomas, his phone is out of power, so he'll try to charge it, get his charger in the car. Okay.
Okay, now am I clear?
Yes, you are clear.
Oh, very good. I think all my equipment are in my car. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
I can hear you now. Can you help me clarify the question from Manon?
Okay, Manor will repeat them. So he's ready now to.
I will repeat them and also you can help them, Brother Madid.
Okay.
Capture those questions too, yeah.
So can you hear Manon? Okay.
No, I cannot hear him very well.
Very well. That's the problem here.
It's okay. Let Manon talk, and then we will highlight them to you.
Okay.
If you can highlight them, yes.
Let me repeat them. First question I said, what do you say from your former alliance, the non-signatories, by downplaying significant impact during the cause of peace? That's the first question. Second question, why SOMA or non-signatories group changed from declaration of principle in Rome into round table? Tell us about this move shifting from the group. The third question is leadership and leading your movement, and you decide to abandon opposition. Do you share this with your group? And if you share with them, what is their opinion and why do you left alone without leaving with your own organization? You leave. This is the question number 3, and thank you. Number 3, I mean.
Okay, I'm now clear.
Okay.
I'm now clear. On the question number 1, the opposition must downplay my decision. And I think it was USSF who came with that downplay, which is normal. It's normal. They cannot really say anything more than downplay my decision, because the opposition is a number of organizations. If I'm out of it today, still they will continue doing their jobs as opposition. So for them, and even for me, it's less significant. With or without me, the opposition is still growing. So they should not be bothering themselves with my decision. It is their right to say so. As for why the Rome peace process has been abandoned and it is being transformed into roundtable conference initiative, it's because, Rome process was meaning for the opposition to rejoin the government, to reach into peace talks, into peace agreement, so that they can be part of the RRCs. But the RRCs has now come to an end, and a different roadmap has been developed by the government. The Rome initiative or Rome peace process become irrelevant. It has been taken up by time. It's not any longer, progressive or meaningful. So they have to abandon it. So, and a roundtable conference initiative is a new thing that I believe is also a part of peace process. Part of peace process, that will lead into somewhere, maybe bigger than what should have been done in Rome for maybe 6 organizations. Now is more than 6 organizations, the NCF. So all participants, some of them are even in Juba. I can say that because they are civil society organizations. They have to pursue that line. It is significant, and it is more than what we call Rome peace process that come to an end by the end of the transition government. As for my contact with my people, yes, my movement is led by objective and strict, principle and philosophy. You know, we are democratic movement. A democratic revolutionary movement is not led by one person. It's a group of ideas coming together. We discussed, and I put on the table what I thought should have been right, but majority of my members think otherwise. That no, we cannot leave this time. We must continue with the opposition, and this is what they believe. Democratically, I told them, okay. Now there are times when people will be like-minded, they think alike, and there are times that people will differ. And in that instance, that always cause the conflict and fight over something if you are not careful. But for us in the UDRM, we are brothers and sisters, we are comrades, and I told them, you see, I could not force my idea on you. You have your own decision, and your own way of thinking. And my line of thinking now is that I find myself not really very effective in running the opposition party or political party outside the country. No. And I'm not ready also now to continue with this. And what I'll do, I give you your organization, which belong to all of us, but let me go and do something else. So it was with the agreement with all the members who did not share my ideas, and I could not force them. And I could not pretend to be taking, some people would, excuse me, some other leaders would come up and say, declare the UDRM defected to the government, entire movement. They would say that it joined the government, the entire movement. But that is not the case here with me. No, I don't want somebody to jump up and down tomorrow say, no. That decision was Thomas alone. We did not share his opinion, and we come to the argument, which I don't like. No, I know myself. I have my own individual contribution to make, whether outside or inside. But my contribution outside is ended, is done, and I see my contribution just would be inside. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. But no, did he answer all your questions?
Yeah, for some extent, I think he answered them, but honestly, I can't say here. But my follow question with him, as he said that the Rome is no longer irrelevant. The Rome talk principle of declarations, and now the round table become an option or is a alternative into Rome talk status. What can he advise? Now he became a part of government and he joined the peace force within Cuba. What can he advise or recommend when it comes to the issue of round table? That's the question that I just follow up from him, because he said the peace negotiation in Rome is over and is irrelevant, and round table become an alternative now. So if you believe in round table that it can be an alternative for his former alliance, what can he advise the government in terms of continue to talk with this group? Thank you.
Thank you, Tukimanun. I think this is a good question. And to be honest with you, I would recommend that the government don't cease dialogue, because dialogue always it is through talks that something good is coming out through talks. People must continue talking. If the Rome Peace Initiative being seen by the opposition is non-productive, because after all, the Rome Initiative was only for six groups. That's why they call themselves non-signatory groups. But now the bigger picture is not those six alone who are preparing for a roundtable conference. There are women organizations, there are youth organizations, civil society organizations come together and call National Consensus Forum. And this National Consensus Forum, I don't see any harm. I don't see any harm from government attending it or participating in it. Because after all, nobody is going to force the government to agree on something that the government thinks is not right. The government has its own way of evaluating things. And from that perspective, my recommendation, Manon, is this: the government has nothing to lose by attending the roundtable conference, or preparing to attend, or preparing to talk about it before even kicked off. I think it is good for government to listen to what exactly do opposition means by a roundtable conference. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You can move ahead, family.
Okay, thank you. Now I will move. I have a question come from Moses. Moses is saying, asking you that General Thomas resigning from the army and putting down your gun is a great thing. Congratulations to you. However, joining the SPLM is not a solution to the problem of South Sudan. Why did you join the different political party or create your own? So that is a question from the Moses. So you can go ahead. So Moses is asking you why you joined the SPLM party instead of create your own.
I should not be creating my own. I should be rather continue leading my own, because I had my own already, which I had abandoned, which had I left behind. Because the members think that it is not a time for them to leave the struggle or to leave the opposition, and I respect their decision. As for me, it's not the right thing for me to join SPLM. This is one individual opinion. Moses has his own opinion. Why is it not good to join SPLM at this time? It is his own evaluation, not mine. But me, I think this is the right time to join the SPLM. It is the right time, because there will be no right time for anybody to join when you think SPLM is in trouble. Okay, it's in problem, and you don't want to join it because it's in trouble. Only that you will wait for when the problem subsided. Problem is end over, and everything become peaceful, then you join. Well, what do you think about you yourself? If you run away from your party during crisis, and you are to come back only when it is peaceful, what do you think about yourself? It is during this crisis that will make me join it, because I've seen myself positive contribution will come out of me. You know what I mean? Yes, it is the right time for me when there are crises to join the SPLM. You cannot run away and later try to come to join when it is now peaceful. No, it's not. It's not the way many of us see it. Musa may see it different way, but I see it differently. Thank you.
Thank you, Comrade Thomas. The last question from Facebook is coming from Obango Omot. Omot is asking you how government believe or trusted you now that you will not rebels again if what you want didn't fulfill by the government.
But if I rebel again, how can government trust me that if we bring this person and he may rebel again? Well, let me tell you this. Let me tell you this. The government will remain the same as it has been without me. If I rebel again, the government will still continue doing their own jobs. And if I rebel to fight, they are ready also to fight me, as they have been fighting any opposition. It is not something that is going to be put forward. I believe government should not put forward that, what if Thomas come and rebel again? What will they lose from me rebelling if it happened that I rebel? Nothing happened. You know, to tell you the truth, Gerald Thomas, Gerald Malong, Comrade Pagan, these are the big guns of SPLM. Dr. Young Machar also. These are the top SPLM. They rebelled, right? Some of them went back, some of them are still outside, and the SPLM or the government continues to function. It will not be Thomas rebellion again that will cause any problem. It doesn't matter.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, my last question before I yield back to my colleague, Mijomaku. Thomas, as you know, crisis is going on in Upper Nile region. The fighting between Agwelek and Donald Thomas, Donald Simon the Rich. So those two factions of Kitwan are fighting each other, and also White Army. White Army now is doing for the last couple of months. They have been fighting with Shuluk, and they are now in Shuluk Kingdom, and many civilians lost their life in Shuluk area. So, what is your take on these issues? What can be done? Bring peace to Upper Nile, to bring peace between White Army and Shuluk Kingdom. What can you tell the White Army to stop killing the innocent Shuluk and turn back to their land? What can you tell them?
Well, Abraham, to be honest with you, many people do have solution in different manners, different ways. But my people will hear me differently if I say this. They will be saying, "Oh, just because you join Salva Kiir government now, you try to support is inaction." Let me put it that way. You see, in our culture, there is a saying that don't be the child in order to make him fear later. A child who has been beaten, it will be saying it has been beaten to fear, not to death, but to fear. Or to be cautious. Always he will do things cautiously. If I were in a decision making in Malakal or in Jongole or in national government. This is what happened in Upper Island Jongole. It was avoidable. It was stoppable. But there was no action in local leaderships, both Jongole and Upper Nile. They did not try all necessary means to stop that. Only maybe Dr. Lam tried his own way to stop the war in his own level as an elder in that community. But I did not see another elderly person or highly caliber, high caliber newer person from Jongole or Malakal or to support what Lam was trying to do to stop the war. And it was not really, in my opinion, during the governor forum. Many governors were talking, like they are helpless, they cannot do anything. No. Why you are a governor? Why people campaign to lead something? If you campaign to be a governor of your state, it means the security of your state is on your hand. I don't think Jongole and Upper Nile deploy all the local resources to try to stop that war. What are they going to gain? The white army that invaded Chulu Kingdom or Shala Kingdom, what will they gain? What is it that they are going to at the end of the day? Because people die because they have to, they have to achieve something. We died in millions to liberate Sudan or South Sudan. We saw that even people were dying. At the end of the day, there will be independence of the country. Now here we are independent. What is the main fighting in Malakal is going to achieve? Are we claiming any territory from Chiruk and vice versa? No, nothing. They are not claiming anything at all among themselves. No Shala wants land from Nuer land or Nuer from Chiruk land. And what is the war all about? That's why if there were action taken by the state leaderships, what they should be asking for was a support from the national government. Let me tell you what would have happened if Salva Kiir, as a commander-in-chief and the president of the government, sent the national army to stop the war. What do you think is going to happen? Would have happened? A full-scale war would have happened in that place, and they accuse him. He started the war again. They will accuse him of starting a war again. And therefore, I was saying somebody had beaten to fear. Salva Kiir had been bombarded to fear to take action. Because if he takes this action, people are going to say this. And then he sat down, let the people do what they think they do. What required in Malakal and Upper Nile and Jongole is the leadership of these two states, plus their own elders, church leaders, whoever comes. It is good thing that Shala is being governed by their there are people with a solid leadership. What this thing is right, all the Shilluk will support it. So it needs the two communities, the two states community to come down and then do the needful for that war to stop, not to support it. Because people are dying. What are we going to gain? People dying. See? There's no reason for that war to be fought in the first place. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Thomas, for your remark in regard to the crisis in Upper Nile State. That war is very unfortunate indeed, and citizens are not supposed to die at current stage. But it's very unfortunate that we are still killing each other without a clear objective. Yeah, up to this juncture, I'm rightly informed that there are no more questions from Clubhouse and also at the comment section. I will give you 2 minutes, Thomas, to give your last remark or your last parting shot to South Sudanese in regard to our today discussions and the topic. And then we will end our show until we'll meet next time for further discussions or engagement. Thank you.
Thank you, Majok, and thank you, listeners or our viewers. Uh, let me just first try to highlight some important things to my colleagues that my decision will never harm the opposition in any ways, never, because I don't have ulterior motive of making that decision. Secondly, there's no popular decision all the time. There's no popular decision by a leader. A decision is the only decision that has been taken. Many will receive it differently. Those who receive it angrily, to their right, there are yet people who will think I did a good decision. And personally, I'm still continuing to be positive. Despite all the insults I have heard in social media, none of them hurt me, hurt my feeling. None of them make me regret, didn't make me regret that I made the wrong decision. No, I'm still positive. I'm still determined, continuing. It is a matter of time, I believe. All of us, even the roundtable conference the opposition is talking about, is for us to go back home, isn't it? Okay, going back home is the main objective of everybody living outside the country. But when and how is different methodology. I have chosen to do it myself alone. People will prefer to do it collectively and sometime. But again, the unity and the solution of the problem of our country will never come from neighboring countries, neither from international community, only from ourselves. And how we're going to do it? We will do it if and only if we try to lower our ego. Even you see in the house, a powerful man in the house can do anything, but sometimes it will lower his, but in order for him to have a family. Okay? Trying to give up some of our egos will bring us peace. You know. But if we continue to say, okay, I'm here, I'm this and that, I cannot compromise, you can hear, you can know even during my resignation. That's why many people call me, I'm a very weak leader, because it's our culture. In Africa, we don't resign. We continue to push, even if you are not effective. But no, I can tell you, naturally, God created me to be a realist. I realize things that are effective, that are realistic to be done, and that are not. This is my life. Again, I learn in a Western democracy where resignation is a mean of solving problems. You know, I cannot push doing things that will not benefit me, my family, my community, my country. No, I should do something else. And those of you who are in opposition, don't think that by departure of Thomas Tut, something are wrong. No, let my resignation give you strength. And in the government too, my coming to them does not mean anything negative. It will mean also something positive. You never know. So by association with one another in the country, by talking under the trees, in the clubhouses, in everywhere, we'll bring peace to ourselves. And let's stop encouraging tribalism. Tribalism is a disaster. It brought a lot of shame, a lot of destruction in other countries around the world. Tribalism was the one who destroyed Europe. And we must learn from this. We are the last country, up to this moment, we are the last country to gain independence. We're supposed to be learning from others. Let us protect our integrity as people. You know, that's the message I would be telling people. It is not Salva-Kiir who will regain trust among communities, among tribes, among Dinka, Nuer, and Chuluk, and everybody, Equatorians. It is the common man who will bring peace to themselves. By sharing, by caring, you know, by giving, you know, rights where it is due. If I'm doing wrong or somebody doing wrong because he's a Nuer, I will jump supporting him or supporting them because they are my tribe. No, let also say you are wrong. Let's give the right where it is due. Despite the fact that Salva Kiir is the leader of the nation, sometimes human right is for everybody. He has some human right to do, but still we put everything on himself because he's the leader. Let that one, okay, what is your role? Think that your role also as a citizen matters, not the leader. We can change the leader by our behavior, not by our clenching. We can change our leadership through how we behave ourselves as a nation, as people. My going will not destroy anybody, will not lower any speed from the opposition, will not harm anybody, because I have no secret to carry. There's no secret in the opposition other than telling the government, let us have peace. That's it. But thank you very much. For those who went as far as to label me in different ways, ahlan wa sahlan, I don't blame you, and I don't respond to you directly, personally, no. In fact, I will just be telling you, we shall meet again in the very near future. And what I have said today is negative, but for you tomorrow you will see it is positive. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Thomas Tut Doap, for your last remark. And it is a powerful message that at some point for you to achieve something, you must give up something. And that one item or commodity that all of us as South Sudanese must give up is our ego. Once we lower our ego, we'll be in a position to understand the perspective of other people, and we can live in unity. Thank you so much for that message. To our viewers, thank you too for tuning in to listen to his perspective and his articulation of the issues of our country. The choice is yours. The rumors are always there, but the first-hand information from the mouth of is very important. for you to digest and make your analysis. Lagos State Media Team, thank you so much, Abraham Adit, for your coordination, your commitment, and your energy always. Abraham Madin Majak, I thank you once again. President Isaac Tiang, thank you. Deputy President Bolma Kura Chen, thank you. And Information Secretary Gardemo Bok, thank you so much. Let's keep working together and bring more people to Lake State Media in order to give their opinions in regard to the affairs of our nation. It is only through discussion and conversation that we will find a solution to our problems, as it was stated earlier by Thomas Tut Doap, that our solutions to our problems will never come from Ethiopia, Addis Ababa, or Entebbe, Uganda, or even Khartoum, Sudan. It is just within us, South Sudanese, wherever we are, and most especially the political class. Up to this juncture, thank you so much, each and every one of you. May God bless you, and let's meet next time. Bye.
It's your boy Young Love, I give him that time. Pancho Lagos State, Panchi America, Panji Dual, Pancho Lagos State, Panchi America, Panji Dual, Walk on the lake, Kankaro, what on watching, Oga, level leg, gear, wow, very leg, Panda with Yay, Panchi America, Pania Dual, Chingatongo Pandon, could you ever buy a check out, Panda Jiro, what they are be Dual. Panchi America, Panji Dual, Pancha Lagos State, Panchi America, Panji Dual, Walk on the lake, Kankaro, what on watching, Oga, level leg, gear, wow, very leg, Panda with Yay, Panchi America, Pania Dual, Chingatongo Pandon, could you ever buy a check out, Panda Jiro, what they are be, Dual,